past you, and shoulders are relaxed. And when you're ready, all right, very nice. Keep breathing for me. Very nice. You've got a little bit more in you. Keep breathing, and there's your number for today. And I'm going to go ahead. What we're doing at OsteoStrong is based on a principle called Wolff's Law. It was established back in 1892 that simply states, when you put sufficient force on bone, it will respond by adapting. Everybody hears the praise of high impact exercise, and one of the reasons for that is impact on bone creates bone growth. The athlete with the highest bone density, bar none, is the gymnast, and it's because of those brief moments of impact. They have higher bone density than folks running track, than swimmers, than triathletes. Any other type of athlete, the gymnast has the highest, and it's a brief moment of impact on bone, which is what we're simulating here at OsteoStrong.
That's so interesting.
We have known from since 1892, that bones react that way. The challenge has always been, how do you generate enough force safely? And that's what we can do here. We use isometric movements to safely apply significant levels of force to the bone. We compress the bone axially from end to end, and we do it comfortably and safely for 5 to 10 seconds at a time. And that's all it takes to trigger the bone to grow. You have to do it in very high levels of force. For example, there was a 2012 study that came out that attached accelerometers to athletes' hips, and it tracked a bone growth marker in the blood. And they found, regardless of the duration and the intensity of the exercise, if those athletes did not hit 4.2 multiples of their body weight, they didn't trigger bone growth in their hips. 4.2 times your body weight is comparable to standing up on a chair and jumping off. Something you're probably not going to have a problem with if you're in your teens, maybe your 20s, not recommended if you're over your 40s, right? So what we can do here is generate sufficient levels of force through the equipment to stimulate bone growth systemically in the arms, in the legs, in the hips, in the spine. So rather than holding on there, let's do that, because otherwise you're having to bring your shoulders down.
That's true.
Okay. And awesome. Make sure you're breathing. Great numbers. I think you've got a little bit more in you. Just extend that leg a little bit more. And this is your number for today. All right. You might slow the progression.
Okay.
This weight-bearing exercise right here, this is intense, like bodybuilding weightlifting. That's not just hitting some dumbbells now and again. 1% gains. Your bisphosphonates about 2 to 3%. Anabolics 7% over a year. This study came out of Great Britain in 2015. On average, they saw a 14% increase in bone density over 6 months. These are all over a year. It was astounding. Now, this was the second study that was done using the osteogenic loading technology. The people in this study had access to the first study, and so they knew 2 things from that. One, it worked, and nobody got hurt. So when they went into this study, they generated much higher levels of force, and the result was higher bone density gains. So what we're learning from this is the more load that you can place on your musculoskeletal system, the more quickly your body will adapt and grow bone. Yes, and this is another study done out of the same clinic. It actually is a hospital in Great Britain. And this was on type 2 diabetes, or folks that were pre-type 2. They did not modify their diet. They didn't do any other modality during this study. The only thing they added was osteogenic loading. And again, this was a 6-month study, and it was more effective in reducing the A1C markers than caloric restriction, weight-bearing, metformin, or cardiovascular exercise when looked at independently. Now, once you start stacking these, the control of your type 2 diabetes is amazing. If you can do the osteogenic loading, the cardiovascular training, modifying your diet, boom,